Did you know? The Xbox version of Shrek was completed in less than a year, and according to the game's credits, the project was done over the course of 10 lucky months. The game was published by TDK Media Active and developed by DICE, who'd later go on to develop the Battlefield series, Mirror's Edge, and the Star Wars Battlefront games. Shrek on the Xbox was the first commercial video game to use deferred shading, a technique that would later be seen in Battlefield 1942, developed by DICE a year later. With deferred shading, light is only calculated for the pixels it actually interacts with. This means multiple light sources can be used at a lower cost than standard shading techniques, allowing for ambient light that more accurately imitates the Shrek movies. The Shrek game was more than just a simple tie-in. It was one of the titles made to get people to buy the Xbox brand. It was featured on the Xbox demo disc, as well as in brochures, contests, and playable kiosks. Microsoft showcased the game at investor meetings and trade events to show off the power of the Xbox, and was seen as one of the console's most visually impressive titles, using advanced lighting and bump mapping textures. General Manager for Microsoft's game division, Jay Allard, had this to say about Shrek's specs. People really respond to Shrek for the Xbox. Its humor, fast-paced quirky gameplay, and cinema-like graphics make it one of the groundbreaking Xbox launch titles. Shrek is a great example of how the Xbox allows us to draw images at the same level of quality of feature films. This will completely change the way that people view video games. Despite all this, other elements of the game were received poorly, especially its gameplay. The game was a timed exclusive for the Xbox, with a GameCube port releasing the following year titled Shrek Extra Large, adding new content. Contrary to the port's box art, Donkey is still not anywhere in the game. Shrek had no spoken lines in the game either, even though it features a fair bit of voice acting. In an interview with IGN, TDK producer Nick Fox talked about Shrek's development. From the start, the team worked closely with PDI/DreamWorks crew and talked with several important figures during the creative process, including the movie's directors. The game and movie teams frequently emailed each other throughout development, and the movie team helped out in any way they could. They scheduled meetings with the film's animators to work on the game's animation, and DreamWorks even provided the team with character and world models, though some models went unused due to software incompatibility. As noted on the game's box art, it featured characters designed by comic artist Todd McFarlane, best known for his work on The Amazing Spider-Man, co-creating Venom, and making the Spawn series. There were strong talks of TDK following up with a Shrek sequel, but those plans never came to pass, as the license went to Activision starting with Shrek 2. However, according to Nick Fox, TDK originally had the Shrek license for 5 years, and even showed Shrek 2 as part of their E3 lineup in May 2003. TDK was acquired by Take-Two Interactive, and as a result, the Shrek rights were picked up by Activision. Though reviews of the Shrek 2 game were mixed, the popularity of the Shrek franchise proved to be great for Activision sales-wise. It, along with the Spider-Man 2 game, shipped over 5 million units combined, and at the time, made for Activision's highest first-quarter revenues in the company's history. Where Spider-Man was the best-selling game of June 2004, Shrek 2 made for the bestseller earlier in May. In the US alone, the GBA version raked in over $18 million, and $26 million on the PS2 by 2006, and combined console sales reached over 2.5 million units. Shrek has also dabbled in a few fighting games. Developed by the now-defunct Shaba Games, Shrek SuperSlam took inspiration from many different fighters, as well as other genres like platformers and first-person shooters. It also found inspiration in films, from the Shrek series itself to Master of the Flying Guillotine and Kill Bill. Like many things Shrek-related, SuperSlam became a source of internet ridicule, thanks to a group of friends making a joke that got a little out of hand. Having enjoyed competitive melee matches and Shrek memes, the group decided to combine the two after finding a copy of SuperSlam lying around. They took the joke online and made a Reddit page for SuperSlam. Laying dormant for over a year, Reddit user Snowball Eater flooded the page with posts about techniques and theories on the game, and others started taking notice, eventually getting the page over 1,000 followers. There's even a competitive scene for the game, including net play tournaments, and a website that keeps an up-to-date tier list for the playable characters. It's gotten to the point where people who worked on SuperSlam have caught wind of the game's resurgence. One of the developers, Sylvan Dubrowski, said the Shaba team was working on an original title before SuperSlam, but it was shelved by Activision. An outsourcing manager for Shaba, Paul Culp, talked about his disdain for the Shrek franchise. Culp said, "I hated Shrek. Still do. I didn't give that game my best. The rest of the team could have easily phoned it in and moved on. But they didn't. I don't know how much you've paid attention to the art and animation in SuperSlam, but it's all pretty great, especially for the time. Personally, I drank a lot during that time, but everyone deals with it in their own way." Despite his personal thoughts, hearing that people were still playing the game and enjoying it made him very happy. And when he told the other team members who worked on SuperSlam, they were just as surprised as he was. As a game developer, the goal is to give people a good time. So the best thing ever is hearing people are having fun with your game over a decade later. The PS2 version of SuperSlam also has an unused file called strident.bin in its data. This file is actually a full PSP game rip of Tony Hawk's Underground 2. The game likely found its way onto the disc due to both titles being developed by Shaba Games. It's common for developers to fill empty space on a disc with what's known as a dummy file, a file with no purpose other than taking up space on a disc or cartridge. SuperSlam's disk size is 1.6 gigabytes, with Tony Hawk's taking up almost half of that file size. Comparing the retail release of Underground 2 with the version on the Shrek disc, there are slight differences in file sizes, and the build found in SuperSlam was compiled 2 days after the retail version. The Shrek franchise also has several kart racers attached to it. Interestingly, Shrek Smash and Crash Racing for the Nintendo DS has an unused track from Mario Kart 64 in its data. The unused song is the main theme from Mario Kart 64, which was one of the samples Nintendo included with the DS's developmental kit. Did you also know that there was a Shrek forum called Shrek-chan where fans shared their passion for the franchise? Or that Shrek's art director was chased by an alligator while researching locations for the film? For more facts, check out our video on Shrek movies. And if you have a general interest in green people, you might want to check this out because it's really important as well.